So, I'm recording this following a 20-hour workday last night, so if I don't sound like my normal self, that's why. Munroe Bergdorf is a piece of work. Not only was she, he, they, it, were given a tremendous opportunity to work for L'Oreal, one of the premier brand names on the planet, she, he, they, it, were also given an opportunity to have a platform to spread a positive message about inclusivity and acceptance from a person who obviously had a tremendously difficult time growing up and struggling with their identity. Instead, Munroe chose to shit on all of that and instead spread hatred and divisiveness towards white people in Western society, eventually costing them their contract with L'Oreal. You'd think a lesson would have been learned here.
What kind of country is modern Britain?
A global leader in economics, realpolitik, a bastion of freedom and enlightenment?
No doubt it's a country that likes to think of itself as inclusive, but that depends where you're standing.
Oh, well, if it depends on where you're standing, you're being given a platform on the BBC, the media outlet that's being funded by anyone paying their TV license in the UK?
To me, as a transgender mixed-race person, we live in a deeply racist society.
Will you give us any examples? I ask because, again, if this was a deeply racist society, you would not be standing in front of a camera talking to us about how racist British society is.
The government's race audit for England identified discrimination against people of colour in many of our institutions, ranging from the police to the justice system to schools.
Alright, I have no idea what this race audit is, so I can't really comment on that, but I do believe the UK to be diverse, a multicultural society, and has been so for generations. Are there biases in British society? I'm sure there are. Does that make anyone with a bias racist? According to you? Why, yes. Yes, it does.
It's something that we've known for years, but the political will has not been there to deal with it.
The political will to do what? Force the BBC to fire white men and higher diversity quotas? To forcibly ignore grooming gangs led by Muslim men because it's racist? To arrest people based on tweets? The political will is there, all right. And it's not boding well for straight white men.
Why should we expect anything else from a country that's built its success on the enslavement of non-white people?
The 1833 UK Act of Parliament abolished slavery. That was nearly 200 years ago, and the UK has flourished ever since. What's your point? That abolishing slavery was a good thing for the UK?
It's that continuous cycle of racism that explains where we are now.
What continuous cycle of racism? Is there slavery in the UK right now? Are there no black people on British television? Are there no Pakistani women in lead roles in cinema? What are you babbling about?
Why does the UK acknowledge the sacrifice of people killed in wars, but not the spilled blood of black people?
Are you saying black people didn't die in wars? Are you erasing black people from the fact that the British Army is as diverse as they come, and that they died for their country too? Also, what blood spilled since the abolition of slavery in the UK? You want to compare blood for blood with no context or the decency of being charitable, and acknowledging that many, many, many men died in wars, fought to secure your freedom to stand in front of a green screen and lecture people about racism.
If the UK took our oppression seriously, then people like me who call out racism would be listened to, rather than ridiculed or threatened with death.
Wait a second. People are listening to you. You're on the BBC, but people don't have the obligation to believe when you say you're oppressed, because as far as they're concerned, you're not oppressed. You're on TV, reaching millions of British citizens, and all you do is call the majority of them racists.
If white people want to see an improvement for people of colour, they need to understand that racism is not learned, it's inherited. Racism is not learned, it's inherited. Racism is not learned, it's inherited.
Alright. I'm stopping this video right now. I will not bother responding to Munroe anymore. This is the single most tone-deaf, racist gobbledygook I've ever heard coming from someone who's supposedly an enlightened liberal. And here's why.
Racism is not learned, it's inherited. Racism is not learned, it's inherited. Racism is not learned, it's inherited. Racism is not learned, it's inherited.
All of these examples, the Nuremberg laws, U.S. slavery, segregation, phrenology, all of them depended on the other side being dehumanized by saying, hey, they were born this way. They have no redeeming quality because they were born this way. Neglecting entirely the fact that a person cannot control what skin color, gender, or nationality they were born to, I thought someone with your experience would have figured that out by now. This is biological determinism gone afoul. This was supposed to be a fun video, Munroe. You had the snappy editing, the bumpy rave music, but I don't care how much you sugarcoat it, how much wrapping with confetti and glitter you throw on it, how much air freshener you spray on it. A turd is still a turd. I'm the finer print. Peace. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you think others might enjoy it, feel free to share it. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments below. I'm always open for dialogues, and I try to respond to most comments as they come in. If you like what I do and you'd like to support it, feel free to visit my Patreon and drop me a $1 donation. I'm the finer print. Peace.